Welcome to Ground Up Growth, where we share entrepreneurial insights, business strategies, and personal growth lessons to help listeners build success from the ground up.
Welcome back to Ground Up Growth. Today's guest is Mr. Lonnie Steverson. Lonnie is the owner of Circle S Incorporated, which is an industrial cleaning company that does hydroblasting, I saw. And tell us a little bit about, well, I'll tell you what, let's start with where you're born, how old you are, and what did growing up look like? Because I saw you were a bull rider, right?
Yeah, I rode bulls professionally back in the early 90s.
That's awesome. We got to unpack some stuff here.
And if anyone Googles you, that's the first thing you'll see. Lots of bull riding videos.
They don't see him hydroblasting. They see him riding a bull. So,
well, I can tell you the money was made in hydroblasting, not riding bulls.
So where were you born, Lonnie?
Harrisonville, Missouri.
Where is that?
South of Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Was born there, and I lived there till I guess I was 4 or 5. And my dad moved back to Mississippi to help with their family business, Buddy's Jeans.
Okay.
My grandfather had that to start with, and then my Uncle Buddy kind of took over. Well, he came back to help in that, and then they wound up going other ways and doing other things. So that's when he started, he was an entrepreneur and tried to figure out he would do anything to make a dollar,
So how old are you?
I'm 51.
51?
52 in May.
Married? Got kids?
Married
to Joanne Steverson. She was from Kansas. Met her on the rodeo circuit. Her brother was a professional bull rider, Spud Whitman. And I met her at
That sounds like a bull riding name, doesn't it? Spud?
Spud.
Man,
That's right.
You born
really
to ride.
Yeah. But no, we met whenever I was riding bulls in the PBR. And
So did you have a job growing up? Like from a kid when you were young, did you have a job?
I would work for my dad. I guess, when I got old enough, most places they wouldn't allow kids out on job sites.
Yeah.
We would do, side jobs, painting fences, doing whatever, and I would help on that.
So how did you get into the PBR, and what age did you get into that?
So my family's come from a rodeo family. My Uncle Buddy, he was a world, all around type champion cowboy. And my dad, he was a professional bull fighter and rodeo clown back in the days, back in the 80s. So we just grew up around it. Everybody we knew, rodeoed, and I always wanted to rodeo. I used to team rope and bareback ride and team rope team rope, bareback ride, and steer wrestle, and also bull riding. But my passion was the bull riding. They were the cool folks.
Right.
So
when you got on your first bull, you remember getting on your first bull for the first time?
I got on I guess remember getting on calves and steers, but not really my first bull.
How old were you doing that? Like
I was getting on calves and steers when I was like 10 and 12, something like that. So yeah, it was it's a heck of a deal, but I learned a lot of life lessons rodeoing,
Yeah.
You were your own boss, and you had to manage yourself, take care of yourself, You'd interrupt all the rodeos. You would have to make yourself be there at a certain time, and we would travel, all over the U.S. doing it.
Right. Wow.
But,
Did you grow up in New Hebron?
yeah, we lived in New Hebron ever since we moved. When my mom and dad moved from Kansas City, we been living in the same place that whole time till I got married and bought my own place, But yeah, we've been there. I guess we moved down in 76 or 78, something like that. So, and I was born in 74, so I really don't remember anywhere else other than living in New Hebron.
Gotcha. Okay. So you mentioned it was a family-owned company. So your parents started Circle S?
Yeah, my dad started Circle S. It actually started out as a painting contracting company. Started out in the Alabama shipyards, and then started progressing and getting work at the local paper mill, GP Monticello. And my dad, he had bought a hydroblast machine to do prep work for painting. And he was always trying to figure out the niche where to make the money at, what you can do that nobody else is doing. And he got a call Christmas Eve. I guess I would have been probably, I don't know, 10 or 12 something. Anyway, we were getting ready for Christmas, getting ready to go to bed, and he got a call from the paper mill, and they said, "Joey, don't you have a hydroblaster?" He said, "Yeah." They said, "Well, do you have any tips to go on it to open up some lines?" And he said, "Well, no, but I did get a box of goodies when I bought it, and I'll go look. What you got?" And they said, "Well, the paper mill's fixing to go down. Christmas Eve, we can't get anybody to come out, and wanted to know if you could come unplug the line to save the mill from going down." So he went out there and he dug through his stuff and found a little tip that would go on the end of the hose, and it looks like basically like a rotor-rooter type thing you put in a pipe, and it cleans the pipe out. So he called a couple of guys that didn't have kids, and they went out there, and sure enough, they opened up the line and got the mill back up and going, and bam, we was in the hydroblasting business.
Really?
So he started buying, hydroblasters, and started out just buying used equipment and worked our way up.
Explain real quick, just for our listeners, what hydroblasting is.
So in the paper mills, refineries and all, they have their processes. They have process piping, they have process tanks. And whatever industry it is, like in the paper mills, they have their paper pulp and stuff goes through these pipes and, throughout their system. Well, they'll sometimes during their run times, they'll get plugged up, or they'll have to do routine maintenance. So when they shut down, all of that pipe in those vessels, they have to be cleaned in order to go in and do mechanical maintenance to them. So we just basically use real high pressure water, and it's produced by, hydroblasting rigs that have big diesel engines on it, and it pressures the water up to anywhere from 10 to 20, even up to 40,000 psi.
Goodness, that was going to be my next question, what the PSI was. Yeah, that'll peel some paint right there.
A normal pressure washer, what's the PSI on that?
That's normally 3,000 or 4,000 psi.
And what is the hydroblaster?
The hydroblasters are either 10 to 20. Some of them are 40,000.
I mean, that was split a 2x4, wasn't it?
Yeah, we actually cut steel with water.
Wow.
We've cut steel. We cut out door sheets, like some plants, if they're take the asphalt industry, such that we do a lot of work for Ergon. The asphalt industry, if they have they can't get it clean, and some of if it's a tank that's got a lot of buildup of asphalt, they just can't take a torch and cut it because it's flammable. It could explode. So they'll use a water jet cutting, and we'll cut it out with water. Then they can go in with mechanical equipment such as skid steers or whatever and clean it out in a whole lot faster time.
Wow, that's very interesting.
It's blowing my mind.
There's some PPE involved in that, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, a lot of thoughts goes into something like that.
You have to go through some type of certification to even operate those?
Yeah, there's back in the days when we were first starting out, it's evolved so much in the last 15, 20 years, but we learned the hard way, unfortunately, and we had injuries and such back years ago just learning. And now the water jetting industry, they have all these different programs that you can do and things that you can mitigate those risks.
Right.
Where like now they've got Kevlar type suits that you can wear. If you're blasting something around your feet, they have Kevlar boots that you can use.
Yeah.
And it's also gotten really evolved into automation. Now they're using
GPS type.
Well, not really GPS, but like they're using tools that actually feed the lances into the equipment and such. So a man's not sitting there running it by hand.
Yeah.
It's a lot safer.
Yeah, it sounds like it's come a long way. So your family got into the hydroblasting business when you were probably 10 or 12, you said. So that's pre-bull riding. So walk us through, fast forward. All right, so you got in the hydroblast business. Where did it go from there?
Well, my dad, he started the business, and then we got into the hydroblasting business and started working at the local paper mill, and then over in Laurel, Mississippi at Masonite Corporations, different areas. And in '94, my father, he got killed in an airplane accident. And my mom, she kept it going, and you know, it was a tough time, but we had a lot of good employees, and they all kind of stuck together and helped us keep it going.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that. So
How did what did that look like for your mom to step in and keep the business going?
Well, my mom, she's a different type lady.
She's got to be.
She's from England, actually. So my mom and dad met in Kansas City. My dad was a horseshoer and rodeo clown, and she came over training jumping horses, and they met at the local stables.
wow.
So if you talk to her now, I can't tell she's got an accent, but everybody else says you can
tell she's from England.
Around here.
Yeah.
So, but she's a real tough lady. She's always been tough. You know, she would work right there beside my dad. And so when that happened, you know, a lot of the employees come to her and said, you know.
How old were you in '94?
20.
20 years old.
Yeah.
Were you rodeoing at that point, or where?
Yeah,
where
I
were
was.
you at?
That year, '94 is when I made the PBR finals. The PBR kind of evolved in '93 and '94, and I made the finals that year. But I was too young to run our business. I had worked in the business out in the field when I was 8. You know, you couldn't work till you was 18. I'd worked for my dad.
Yeah.
Many years there before he passed away, and I would be gone rodeoing, and I'd come in. I graduated in '92, so that's when I started really going professionally and going, you know, to the PRCA rodeos and such. And I was in Canada when it happened, but after that happened, my mom kept the business going. We had several general managers come in, and I'd still work in the field, but I was actually in the middle of rodeoing too, so I was kind of back and forth. And I guess it was we went through a couple of managers, and working for mom was probably tough for them, but they envisioned that it was making so much more money than it was. We were just barely getting by, really. But
yeah.
Long story short, in 2000, we had our last manager. He left us then, and I stepped in and started running a business, and we had about, I guess, 40 something people working for us then. And that was in 2000. And
so you were 26, I guess, at that point?
Yeah, that's right. 25, 26.
And so you came on, is that when you came on full time?
Well, I was full time. Well, I guess probably around 98 or so. I got hurt pretty bad in the PBR around 99. 95, I got busted up. 95 was my worst year. I broke my arm, had facial, got hit in the face real bad and broke up a bunch of bones in my face, and then broke my leg as well. And long story short, 95 was the worst year for me riding. So at that point, I come home and had to heal up, and started working a little bit in the office, kind of learning the estimating side of it. Because I knew the work. I'd been out in the field working, but wasn't really versed in the office type settings of it. So anyway, I did that for a while, and I still would go. When I healed up from that, I went back rodeoing. I still made the finals in 96. No, 97. I missed it in 96. 97, I made the finals. 98, I made the finals. And 99 was the last time I made the finals. So I qualified 5 times for them. One of the years I was hurt and couldn't ride. So, but anyway,
what's the name of the meanest bull you rode? I got to know that.
I don't know about the meanest. Probably the rankest would have been. There's a bunch of them. I don't know. There was I remember the meanest bull I ever got on was in Laughlin, Nevada, and it was a bull called Tomahawk, and He was a mean son of a gun, but one of my best friends, he was the rodeo clown there, or the bullfighter, and I told him, I said, "This is a bad cat." He said, "You don't worry about that. You just ride him, and then whenever it's time to get off, I'll take care of that." So that worked out. I rode him and got off of him good, but he was just a natural born mean dude. So.
Wow. Man.
I have a 5-year-old, and we took him to the Dixie National Rodeo for the first time this past weekend. So the bull riding, when that started, his face, really the whole time at the rodeo, he was like, "What is this?"
Well, they come to watch the rodeo, but they don't watch. They're coming to watch the bull riding and watch the wrecks. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, but they sure want to see it.
Right. It's like NASCAR. I mean, you're not going to watch somebody just draft.
Yeah.
So, no, the bull riding, it was always the most intriguing. When my dad was a rodeo clown, we would go to the rodeos, and I would always go back behind the chutes and be friends with the bull riders because they were the cool.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's, anybody ride a bull, they had to be cool. So
And a little crazy, I've heard.
yeah, very good.
Was there somebody in the rodeo industry that you looked up to that was like,
Yeah,
maybe a mentor, or maybe just like that you thought was the best of the best, or
everybody has heroes. I guess my hero was Lane Frost.
Yeah.
Met him one time in Jackson, and they had that movie 8 Seconds, and they talked about how good of a person he was. Well, he was.
Wow.
I was a little kid and just walked up there, and we were behind the chute, or back in the back behind the chutes and all. He was sitting there looking at a book of photos or whatever, and I went over there and I was in awe. Like, that was my hero.
Right.
I went over there and sat down beside him. He talked to me just like you're talking to me.
Man, that's
he
awesome.
He was
That's so
truly
cool.
a true champion.
That's awesome. Man.
But no, I always wanted to. My dream when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a world champion bull rider and ride with the best of the folks. And it actually, I never was a world champion, but I got to be a part of one of the coolest evolving of the PBRs that I could ever been a part of.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a heck of a career there for sure. I watched you on YouTube a little bit before this podcast, and pretty impressed.
There's some good rides. There's some wrecks in there too. Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But whenever I started running the business, I got married, and then we had our first child, and I was still riding, and I would go to the rodeos. I'm a pilot, so I would fly myself to the rodeos or to the bull ridings. And when I would land, I'd be on the phone the whole time, trying to tend to stuff back home. And then when I'd leave, I'd go back, I'd work all week, and then I'd fly to the next weekend to the bull ridings. It just got to where, my heart wasn't in it. So
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine, Ty Murray. He's one of the world champions. Told him, I said, Ty, I don't know if I still want to do this or not. He said, well, you excuse my language. He said, well, you dumbass, you don't need to be doing it unless you want to do it, because you'll get killed doing it. So
That's sound advice.
and it was, I kind of took it to heart.
Yeah.
I quit riding in 2000. It was just too much going on, and I had a heck of a opportunity with our business, and I love working. I like getting out there and working and making something out of nothing.
Right.
So
bring us up to speed now. So as of today, Circle S, where is the company at? How many employees do you have? Give us kind of a snapshot of what y'all been able to grow it into, because that's 25 years fast forward now.
yeah, we've got about 85 to 90 employees now. Our footprint used to be just in Mississippi and, South Mississippi or what have you, but now we're working in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Arkansas, Tennessee. We've really expanded our footprint.
Is that referral based stuff? Like, are people calling you, or are you having to go out and actually like drum the business up?
Actually, a lot of it is referral. They hear about, us from other contractors. We do a lot of work with a company called Miller Mechanical. They're out of Brookhaven, Mississippi. Their home base is out of New York, but they're a real big digester and pulp mill based contractors. They go in and do all the mechanical maintenance, and we've been working with them since the 80s and at Monticello, and we started kind of expanding a little bit. And they asked me, they said, if we refer you, will you go to these plants and do our cleaning for us? Because the other contractors take so long. It affects our schedule because we need to get it sooner and faster.
Yeah. So, time is money in that industry.
So they started referring us, and it's been a really good working relationship with them. You know, they've opened doors for us we probably would not have got. So
right.
And we've been out beating the doors too, you know, going around trying to sell. This last year we had the biggest year we've ever had, and this year's on tap to even be bigger than that. So It's growing really, really well.
Wow.
We just opened another office up in North Mississippi at Columbus, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Got a few folks hired in there, and they're starting to try and grow that area as well. So
very nice.
What do you attribute to that growth, like the growth that you've seen last year and this year?
Hard work ethic. You know, we've got old equipment. Some of our equipment's back when my dad was alive, you know, in the 90s. And it's kind of like an old car. As long as you take care of it, you maintenance it properly and do what needs to be done, it'll last forever. You just change out the wear items. But, you know, it's all about the people. You know,
that's what I want to hear more on is, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Y'all are doing the dirty work. I mean, you're going in there and cleaning, doing industrial cleaning. I can't imagine anybody being like, man, I love doing that. But when I looked on, like, just looking at y'all's company and on your Facebook page and stuff, and like, just, you could just see it in the pictures, like the people that work with y'all, like they love their job, it appeared. And it's like, that doesn't just happen by hiring somebody. Like, y'all are doing something from the top down, instilling work ethic, value. I mean, like, people are bought into the company from what it appears to me. And I'd love to hear like what you've been able to do to,
I don't know, other than
treating people right. And
you got to take care of the people that take care of you. You know, we've got people that's worked with us. We just had one retire, been with us 36 years.
Goodness.
So,
wow.
And actually my dad hired him. We've got other folks. We got several other folks been with us over 30 years, 25 years. So I think it's attributed to taking care of people. You know, I'm older I get, I can't do it as much as I used to, but I get out in the field and I work with them, you know.
We have hit on that on, I can't tell you how many episodes, different industries doing that right there. Just rolling your sleeves up and getting involved, you know. I mean,
you can't manage something that you don't know what is, you know.
Yep.
I'll never forget my dad. When my dad was alive and I was out in the field, I was 18 years old, and I called him up one day. We've been doing this hard job over at Masonite, hydroblasting these condensers. And it was a tough job. It was 5 days, round the clock, just hard, that kind of work that you wouldn't see me smiling on Facebook about. And I called him up one day, and he was a tough go-getter. I called him up. I said, Daddy, I'm tired of this. I want to learn the business. I know how to hydroblast, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this all my life. I want to learn what you're doing so I can help grow the business.
Yeah.
He said, "Come on, Lonnie." I said, "No, I'm serious, Daddy. I'm pretty well done. I'm going to work today and then need to put somebody else in this spot tomorrow." And I heard him grit his teeth. He grit his teeth. He said, "You're shitting me, right?" I said, well. Now, he said, "You mean to tell me my own son is quitting? Do you know what that looks like?" I said, "Well, I'm not quitting, Dad. I just want to learn the other part." He said, you got to learn this part before you learn another.
Yeah.
So fast forward, we were at a job over in Natchez after he had passed away. And we were doing a job, and we were helping another good friend of mine, Pat Kiger. And he had a bunch of temporary labor up there. And these guys, they wouldn't They wasn't putting out. They wasn't trying. They were just there to get a check.
Right.
They, he said, I can't make this one. I walked up there and he was just sitting there. The person was. I said, what are you doing? He said, it won't cut it. It won't do it. I said, what do you mean it won't cut it? It's too hard. We got to figure out something else. So I jumped over in there and I ran that line, and then I pulled it out and run another line and pulled it out. And I said, don't try to tell me that. I said, I know what it'll do and what it won't.
Right.
So either you do the job or you can leave the job, whichever one.
Right.
If I wouldn't have known how to do it, he could have, go back to the days of actually being out there working. I learned what it took and didn't even know I was learning.
Right.
So,
right.
But, I think we've got a really, really good company. We base it on values, those aren't just employees, they're our family members.
Right.
So
that goes a very long way. We talked about that with the last guest with Nick about just the care. I mean, the element of care with your employees, with the community, and just, it's not about the money. And like that shows whenever you reinvest into your company, into your people. I mean, it's pretty self-evident in my eyes. And I think this is living proof. I mean, you get somebody with a 36-year tenure. I mean, that's,
yeah,
that speaks volumes to me. So, well, Lonnie, we really appreciate that. We're going to wrap this first episode up, and then next episode we will continue talking about what you want to talk about.
I guess a little more into your industry, a little bit more of how you run the business.
Okay.
And I'd love to just hear, you've seen a lot in your 51, 52 years.
Yeah.
Honestly, just some advice from you. I know you have more stories.
Yeah,
kind of just dive even
stories.
deeper into Lonnie Steverson.
I'm just not real good at talking. That's my only problem.
No,
You're great.
This has been good. So we'll do that. We'll follow back up with the next episode.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lonnie.